Hi guys, Leslie Suarez with eXp Realty here today teaching the KVCore advanced class for Gene Frederick's team. So we have a couple participants that have already taken my beginners class. Thank you guys for being here, and I'm going to start sharing my screen so that we can go into some of the more advanced things. Before we go into that, just some things that I want to make sure that you have already done and you're on top of is number one, editing your profile. Key things is make sure that you have your photo, your name, you can change your tagline. But editing your contact information, one of the other big things that I talk about or spoke about yesterday or 2 weeks ago, depending on when you took it, but is syncing your contacts in your smartphone. So make sure that you've done that with the email addresses that you have on file with KVCore. So with both of these email addresses, I have my contacts and my calendar synced, but you can also sync notes and I think one other thing, I forget what it is, but definitely encourage you guys to do that. It just makes your life so much easier. Definitely have your about me section because that is what's going to be emailed to all of your clients when they do a free home valuation on your website. Plus it's on the front page of your website. So spend a little bit of time on that. And then of course, make sure that you have your signature put in and that your signature is on all of your outgoing emails. When it's blue, it's on. When it's gray, it's not on. So make sure that you always turn that on. There's obviously more and more things that you can add to your profile, but I'd say that those are the key things, or at least the things that I recommend. The other thing is make sure you guys have gone to website content and added your service areas. So if you go to service areas in SEO, add as many like of the postal codes, zip codes, city names, town names, community names, neighborhoods as you can think of to your list. I'd rather you have 100 than 10 of them. So just keep adding and adding and adding. Both of you guys have done those things. You're on mute. But
Yeah, we have.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Also testimonials. So you can add testimonials, make sure you turn those on and you give yourself the full 5 stars. Otherwise the stars don't show up. So if they're gray, it means that you haven't selected them yet. So those are like the key things that you probably should have done already, as well as add some smart campaigns to your library. So those were all things that we went over yesterday, or in Chris's case, 2 weeks ago. We also talked a lot about how to edit contacts that are in your library and different ways that you can utilize sending out mass emails. I really, really recommend that you guys put some time in your calendar that you're sending out a mass email, whether it's weekly, monthly, like whatever works with your schedule. I wouldn't do one daily because you'll have a lot of people unsubscribe, but my dog's coming to say hello again. Sorry, guys. But you definitely want to come through here and email people, especially based on where they live. So work on your hashtags if you haven't done so already, and make sure that people have hashtags with either where they live or places that they go to or things that you'd want to send them emails about. So the bulk of today is going over how to drive more traffic to your website. So a lot of what we're going to do today is squeeze pages. But before that, I want to talk about what your domain name is for your website. So EXP, when they give you a site, it is your full name, first and last name, .exprealty.com. But you can buy vanity domains. For example, my email address, everything that I advertise is 561 Leslie. So I also purchased 561leslie.com because 561 is the area code that I work in. And so it's really easy for people to remember. So when you type in that other website, a vanity domain is just like a name that you would put in the web browser, but then it actually sends people to whatever the real site is. So you can purchase vanity domains through KVCore. They're inexpensive. It's an easy way to do it. I personally purchase my vanity domains from GoDaddy. I do that because I own my GoDaddy account. Like you can create an account, see it says I'm logged in as Leslie. And although I never would anticipate changing brokerages, if I ever were to change brokerages or not have KVCore anymore, I want to make sure that I still have control of what I've been advertising to my clients, just my business mindset as a realtor. So you can come in here and you can search for new domains. I'd recommend, like the key points that I recommend to get across is make sure that it's easy to spell, that it's short and then it's memorable, because you don't want a really long domain name. And in all reality, our KVCore websites do have a long domain. So you can go to GoDaddy, you can think about whatever you want, like Leslie the Realtor. You know, I don't even know if this one's available, but you hit enter and it will tell you whether or not it's available. So leslietherealtor.com is taken, but it will also show you your other options. I will tell you that I also own leslie.house. Like, so sometimes you'll see .house or they have .homes. And those are always really catchy. People think that's really creative. I don't really recommend .co's because people will just make the mistake and type .com. So you can look through and see what's available, or you can just keep typing in more and more ideas that you have. Just to kind of give you an example, Leslie can be spelled in multiple different ways. So one of the things that I've encountered with my clients is they've told me they actually spelled Leslie wrong when they went to my website. So I've been thinking of like, okay, what other words can I use rather than my first name to brand myself? So just some things to think about. I have 561leslie.com and then www.leslie.house. And so that's what I've chosen. And then you can either manage it yourself. So you can come in here and go to your products, and you can actually manage it and point it to whatever domain you want. Or if you're struggling with that, or you're not computer savvy and that just overwhelms you, I will tell you, you can go to the help center and there's a chat that you can set up, and basically you just tell them, hey, I want 561leslie.com to go to lesliesuarez.exprealty.com, and they'll actually do the work for you. It doesn't cost anything extra. Most of the domains that you buy are going to be like $12.99. You do have to renew them every year. So make sure you put a credit card on file or whatever it takes so that way you stay on track. But I highly encourage you to get a vanity domain, because again, the easier it is for people to get to your website, the more likely they are to visit it over and over and over again. Any questions about vanity domains?
No,
I'm good.
Chris. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So be creative, make it easy to spell, make it short. Those are like the key highlights that I want you to take from that, and go to godaddy.com. It's easy. So I do recommend that you have the vanity domain, but one of the other ways that you can build like mini websites is actually to come in here under lead engine and go to build a squeeze page. If I could get it to stay highlighted. So you'll actually see two things here. You'll see build a landing page and build a squeeze page. Both of them actually serve a similar purpose, or will look the same as far as what your clients will see. But as far as what you get on the back end, I actually only build squeeze pages. I haven't built a landing page with KVCore in quite some time. But again, they look the same. But the way that I remember what a squeeze page is that it's trying to pull information out of people. So a landing page is a place that somebody can land on that website and it will give them the information that they want. A squeeze page is similar to that. However, it's trying to pull information and kind of create an algorithm to watch your client's behavior on the back end. So you'll receive more information from people that land on your squeeze page rather than land on a landing page. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I use squeeze pages on a regular basis. And in fact, it's a huge part of my listing presentation when I'm talking to sellers and why they should list with me. And I do bring them. I have a couple of the squeeze pages that I've built saved in my phone so that I can show them how awesome the website looks that their property will have. But there's lots of different types of squeeze pages that you can build. You have multi-property, single property, seller squeeze, and market report, and they all serve a different purpose. Multi-property will get a lot of people to your website because it's always fun for people to look at what's available. So multi-property is going to be a multi-property where they can come on there and check out what's available in whatever town. So I'll show you guys how to build this one in a second. It is a good way to drive traffic to your website. The other one is a single property. And again, this is part of my listing presentation where I tell people like, hey, I'm going to have your listing up on the MLS. But in addition to that, and the fact that it's going to go to all of these surrounding websites that are connected to the MLS, I'm also going to build its own private website. And I actually tell people it's better for you because a lot of sellers like to advertise for you. So I hardly ever actually send them the MLS listing. I mean, I do, but I make it very clear to them that if they want to share it to their friends and share it on social media, that the single property squeeze page, or the website, as I call it to them, like I'm not calling it a single property squeeze page to the client, but the website for the property is better, because then I can track things on the back end as far as where people are looking at the property, what's getting it the most amount of attention. So I actually have my sellers kind of advertise for me, because they all love to like share and be like, oh, I just listed my house and look at the fabulous website my realtor just built. No joke, that's the best form of advertising for you as a realtor. So these single property squeeze pages are pretty easy to build. It asks you a couple questions just on the left-hand side. So it's asking you 4 questions. Number 1 is it wants the address of the property or the MLS ID. So as soon as you start typing, it's going to give you like options. So this is the property that I just listed last night. It's actually a seasonal rental. It's nothing crazy. But they're repeat clients that purchased the property with me. And so part of me going into their house yesterday was telling them, hey, I'm going to have this on the MLS tonight, and I'll have a website for you. I actually built this squeeze page earlier. But the next question that it's going to ask you is, where are you going to post this page? Are you going to post it to Facebook, Google, Craigslist? Where are you going to post it? So for me, I do the majority of my advertising through Facebook. So I'm going to put FB for Facebook, and I'm going to teach you some tricks about Facebook to make sure that you get as many people seeing it and it showing up in as many news feeds as possible. And then for hashtags. So the hashtags that I would put on this property would be the property address, and then probably the words, I have a space right there. So KVCore tells you when you're doing something wrong. So that's one of the hashtags. The other one can also be like seasonal rental, because that way, if I see somebody has this hashtag attached to them because they came in through this listing, chances are they're looking for a seasonal rental, and I can kind of categorize them. So underneath that is a really important question, and it's saying property views allowed before registration. So anybody that lands on your website or any of the squeeze pages that you build, at some point or another, as they navigate through your website, and this is a setting that you can change. So if you remind me, I'll show you this in a second, or towards the end of this class. But at some point, it's going to ask them to create an account on your KVCore website, and they will be added to your CRM. So when you build a squeeze page, you kind of want to think about this and know that, so for a single property, they're not going to be bouncing around as much. So I don't want to make it like 10, because who knows, they could just look at 2 different pages and then be done. But at the same time, I also don't want to make it too fast. Like I never use 1. And that's because, like, imagine if you had never been into JCPenney's before, like you've never been into that store, and you go to walk into the entrance and the security guard says, nope, you can't come in. You can't see what we have to sell unless you fill out this credit card application. You'd be like, well, never mind. And you turn around and you'd walk to the next store, because there's lots of places that I can buy things that I think JCPenney has, but I don't know what they have to offer. Versus if you shop around at JCPenney's, you're at the checkout line, and then they tell you, hey, here's this discount if you apply for a credit card. People are much more likely to do it. So people don't really like to do the work unless they know you have something that they want. So again, single property squeeze page, there's not a ton for them to look at before they'd exit out of it. But at the same time, I don't want to do it immediately, because I want them to look around on my website, be like, oh, this is easy to navigate. Our websites are phenomenal. KVCore sites are really easy for people to use. So you want people on your site. So with a single property squeeze page, I normally make this 2, versus with a multi-property squeeze page, I'll make it 3 or 5. With the seller squeeze page, I also do 2. Market report, I might make it 3. So those are just the things that I use, and based on, like, I have a long history of being in sales prior to my long history in real estate. And it's important not to ask people to do work for you until you've given them something that they want. So here I'm going to leave this at 2. So I filled out my 4 things, and then I hit generate link. You're going to see 2 different websites that populate. You're going to see the direct link, which is a really long website, or a short link that KVCore also makes for you. You can utilize either of these. I'd recommend that you use the direct link if you're doing any sort of paid advertising with it. It gets them to that link just a little bit faster. but 99.9% of the time I actually use the short link. So I'm going to copy that link and then I'm going to open up a browser and I'm going to paste it. So this is actually the exact same page because I did this earlier today. But I type that into the browser. It directs it to that longer domain name that was there. And it shows me everything about the property. Now people can look at photos. They can chat directly with you as the agent. They can ask you questions. They can request a showing. Like everything that you'd ever want to be on your website for real estate and like advertising a property, it's right there. They can save the property so that they can come back and look at it easily. There's tons of options. Some of the key things to point out on here is that it comes with all of the information that's in the MLS. So it is very, very thorough. It's not missing anything. In fact, sometimes it has even more information. It also gives you a price range for what properties are renting for versus selling for, because this is a rental listing that I just put up. But it just kind of, it's a beautiful website. So this is what I actually send to all of my clients that have a property listed with me, as I say, hey, here's a listing, and I post it to social media. I'm typically friends with most of my clients on social media. And so I'll ask them to share it, but I do post these all the time. Now, if you're a realtor that's not as busy right now, I recommend that you still build single property squeeze pages, but you'll have to build them with other agents' listings. So before you ever do another agent's listing, even if on the MLS it says, yes, any agent can advertise, still please get written consent. You know, like you never know what's going to change or like what could transpire in the future. So even when it's like my best friend that's not with EXP, I can text him and say, hey, I want to share one of your listings. I think I can help you find a buyer in another state. He always says yes, but I always follow that up with a text or an email saying, hey, you said that I could advertise this property, just getting it in writing. Thanks. I'm going to build a website for it. They always say, yep, that's great. Thanks, Leslie. Hope we can do this deal together. And I build squeeze pages for other realtors' properties. Couple reasons. Number one is I really could find a buyer. It's happened to me many times through doing this. But in addition to that, it also creates the environment that you're busy in real estate and the thought process, because nobody wants to hire a realtor that doesn't have any listings and doesn't have anything under contract. You know, everybody wants to know that you're in this game and that you do it full time. So by posting these things to your social media, you do give off that aura, whether it's your listing or not. I never claim a listing. So when I post these to social media, I do say things like, listing was provided by a fabulous colleague. If they work with EXP, I'll tag them. If they're not with EXP, I typically don't tag them. But again, that's just my methodology behind my madness. But I highly encourage you to build single property squeeze pages almost like once a week and share them to social media. Any questions on single property squeeze pages?
Nope.
Pretty straightforward.
I love it.
Awesome. So single property ones are easy. Even easier is a seller squeeze page, because it's just asking you, where are you going to post it? Facebook. What do you want the hashtag to be? Boca seller. I already use that hashtag quite a bit. And then location. I'm going to type in Boca Raton. So I can type in the city that I live in. You can also go by county. You can go by what's zoned for that school. Like if you wanted to just advertise to people that are zoned in a specific area. So I'm going to do Boca Raton as a whole. I hit generate link. Again, I'm going to copy this to my clipboard. I'm going to paste it. I always tell people you're going to paste it before you post it, so that way you can make sure that it looks the way that you want. And 99.9% of the time they're perfect, but it's just one more step that I ask you to take before you actually put it on social media. But it brings you to this easy website where it says, find out what your home in Boca Raton is worth. Average home sales in Boca Raton are averaged at this amount. And it says, enter your address to get your free home valuation. So people type in their address. It takes them to a page where it shows them what the recent sales are in their community and in their zip code. And then encourages them to reach out to you. But in addition, when they do that, you're also going to get them added to your CRM, and they're going to be put on a seller squeeze or seller smart campaign. Sorry, I couldn't think of the right wording there. So this one's really easy. I really recommend that when you post this one for the first time, that you call a couple of your family members, your friends, and especially affiliates and vendors that are in the real estate industry. And you say, hey, I just posted this post 2 minutes ago. I'm trying to increase traffic to my website. So will you share it as soon as you can and get people to share that post? The reason being is that when you get people to like, comment, share on your post, Facebook watches that and is going to create an algorithm as to how many people's news feeds it lands on. So depending on what people and how they react to your post of this website is how many more people's news feeds it's going to populate into. So if somebody likes your post, it gives you a couple extra points in their little algorithm system. If somebody comments on your post, it gives you a few more brownie points. It's worth even more in their point system. If you comment back when somebody's commented to you, gives you a few more points. But what will give you the most points and make you show up for free in other people's news feeds is if there are a few shares on it. So one of my goals is that if I create these squeeze pages, I try to get 3 people to share it immediately. And it's way easier when you're early in EXP and you're new to KVCore. I've been doing the same thing for 9 years, but the first few times that I posted this, I got so many people that just clicked on it to find out what nest egg they were sitting on. Everybody wants to know what their home is worth. And it doesn't hurt to just add more and more and more people to your CRM, whether they're looking to sell now or maybe in a year from now, or who knows when their life is going to change circumstances and they're going to be ready to sell. But having them in your pipeline, KVCore signing a smart campaign to them so it stays in touch with them on your behalf and kind of nurtures that relationship is one of the ways that you will get more and more listings. So, and I've even had people that clicked on this from Facebook where they got the number, like what their house was worth, and they called me right away being like, whoa, that was worth way more than what I was expecting. Would you want to come by and see what my house looks like and what renovations I've done? I'm like, yep. And so I've gotten listings from that specific squeeze page. I encourage you guys to do this, but again, don't post it every day. You know, like people will start to tune you out, and you really only want to post things that you know you can get comments on and reactions from, so that way you don't fall down into the Facebook like level of non-importance. So that's the seller squeeze page. The multi-property squeeze page is basically where you can advertise a whole bunch of properties. Did you have a question? Oh, okay. Sorry, I wasn't sure if I was talking over you, but this is really great to get buyer leads and also just to kind of show off again that you're busy in real estate, you're aware of what's out there. And so this is going to be a multi-property squeeze page. I'm going to put in the location, the area that I want to advertise properties in. So again, I live in Boca Raton, so I'm picking on Boca today. And then scroll down, you can choose listing types. I mostly deal with single family homes, but again, you could do townhouses, villas, condos, land, all sorts of stuff. So I'm going to do listing types, single family homes. Style, I typically leave blank because you don't want to be too specific in here, because then you might only get like 2 properties that fall in that search parameter. So I try not to be too specific, but there are certain things that I like to put in, and I'll kind of explain why as I go along. But price range, I normally put a minimum of 400,000, mostly because anything in Boca is going to be higher than that. And I don't put in a max amount, because whether you're looking at something for 400,000 or 40 million, I'll be your agent. You know, I'm not going to cut myself short on that. But you can also choose your square footage, the amount of acres that it sits on, how many beds, how many baths, what its walk score is. The other one that I do like to do is options. So I'll do homes that are just listed. This is my favorite one. I build this one probably too often. I should get a little bit more creative, but just listed with a pool. So now you scroll back up and there's still some stuff to fill out on the right-hand side. So this one takes an extra 20 seconds to build. But on the right-hand side, now it's asking me, where are you going to post it? I'm posting this one to Facebook. What hashtags do you want it to be? Boca buyer. I can put in numerous hashtags. Pool homes, so I know that they're into pool homes. I can choose its own Facebook cover photo, but I actually let it choose it for itself. And then how many properties do you want people to look at before they're asked to register? So this is one that where I normally move it up just a little bit. Now I filled everything out. It's going to give me the links when I hit generate link. And again, we're going to copy this and we're going to paste it in a web browser before we post it somewhere, because this is the one that occasionally I'll have one property that lands in the search parameters that I've set. And so you want it to have some. 19 is in my mind like the perfect number. And so you can scroll through here and it's going to show you all of the recently listed homes with a pool. And then to take it one step further, sorry, normally I have my Facebook open, opening that real quick. So I come into Facebook and I post it. One of the biggest questions that I get is, do you post this stuff to your personal page? Do you post it to your professional page? I do both. If I ever post it to my professional page, I actually share it on my personal page. So I do share it in both places. And again, one of the tips that I talked about yesterday is only connect the social media that you use on a regular basis. So I do try to post a squeeze page at least once a month or every 2 weeks to my professional page, because that is linked on my KVCore website. So you're going to create a post. The first thing that you're going to do is make sure that it's for public, because again, you want people to share it, and people can only share a post if it's a public post. They cannot share it if it's just to your friends. So we're going to make it a public post, and then you're going to type out something. So curious what's for sale in Boca Raton, question mark. Check out these newly listed property homes with a pool. And then I typically will do an action where I'm like, click here, and I'll put one of the downward facing hand emojis. Now, I'm not a huge emoji person, but I have found that people do click on posts more when there are a lot of emojis. So as silly as it might sound, I do actually come in here and throw emojis throughout whatever I've written, like the question marks, a little picture of a house, all sorts of things. So like whatever you think fits into what you're selling. So like the one with a pool, typically I'll choose somebody in a pool. But as silly as it may make you feel, I do encourage you guys to put these in there, because of the fact that it will entice people to click a little bit more. And again, your main purpose is to get more and more people to your KVCore site. So you can put things in there like a palm tree. You could put in a fire symbol, the alert symbol. There's tons of emojis that you can choose from. But put a couple emojis in here, and then you're going to hit enter, and we're going to paste that link into, I think because it's attached to emoji, there we go. And it will draft up what it's going to look like. Sorry, my internet must be going slow. There we go. And it brings in its own image, and it says just listed homes in Boca Raton, Florida. Search all available properties, and they're able to look through that. So the other thing that I do add in there is I'll give that a couple spaces, and I'll also say something like, please feel free to share this post with friends moving to Florida, and just put something like that in there, or whatever you want. But this way you're calling people to action to help you spread the word. So number one, you're telling them to click on the link below, but then on top of that, you're also asking them to share. And then you just post it. So typically as soon as I post it, I'll call, like some weeks I'll call my mom, another week I'll call my lender that does most of my deals, another week I'll call a title company, but I do make a couple phone calls and ask people to share these posts. So this is what it looks like as people scroll through your news feed. And I think I probably should have added even a few more emojis. As silly as it sounds, it works. And I'm all about doing what works and then continuing to make it better from there. So that's the multi-property squeeze page. Any questions?
No, but I think it's really good, and you can boost those ads, right?
Yes. So if you do it to a professional page, you can boost the ad. If it's your personal page, you cannot. But I will show you, I have lots of these squeeze pages on my professional page as well.
Yeah.
So actually, when I look at the page itself, So just to kind of show you what a few of these look like, I do post things that are going on in my community as well, because it's important. As well as silly as it sounds, I do a lot of live videos where I go through properties and just like do an MTV Cribs version. And
Okay,
this actually gets me a lot of traction. So I host a networking class or networking group every single Tuesday morning. And one of the things that I tell agents to do is if you want to get into luxury real estate and you want to do something different, start going to luxury properties and posting about it. You know, number one, you're going to learn a lot about the community by going through security and doing all of that to get to that property. But then on top of that, you're going to show the image of, I know what I'm doing when it comes to luxury real estate. So this is actually a very famous house here in Boca Raton. It's called the Puzzle Palace.
okay.
Huge property. But it was nice because I got a lot of shares on this. I got a lot of likes. I got some comments, and I also did share it to my personal page. So I know this isn't KVCore related, but that's just one more of my advertising tips. This one was a property it's a single property squeeze page. It's not my listing, but I shared it for a colleague. So it says, check out my colleague's listing, a 3-2 corner unit available for this much. Know someone interested, please feel free to share. Then I also have, this is a multi-property squeeze page as well, just like I posted to my personal page today. So I have lots of things in here, but again, I do a lot of these single property squeeze pages that my colleagues have. And then I have like obviously some live videos and things of me doing real estate. So use these as much as you can. I encourage you to, I mean, especially in the beginning, pick up that phone and don't be scared, you know, drop the ego for a second and tell people, I just switched brokerages. I'm working on building up my new CRM. I'm working on building up my website, however you want to word it, but people will want to support you if you tell them how you can be supportive. And one of the easiest free ways for your friends, family, colleagues to support you is by sharing these squeeze pages that you build. So one of the reasons why Jean asked me to teach these classes is because of the fact that I really don't spend money on advertising, and I'm a multi-million-dollar agent. And I have a really amazing reputation as I like to teach people in general. Like I mentor for EX, a lot of other things, but it's because I really don't have to spend very much money. You know, I tell my affiliates, I tell my colleagues how they can support me, and they all do by sharing my stuff.
Well, okay.
Another reason to build great relationships. You know, sometimes people ask me, Leslie, why do you volunteer? I volunteer because I care, but
Yeah.
everybody always follows that up with, but you don't make any money from all of the volunteer stuff. And I volunteer like almost 20 hours a week to my local association. I sit as our regional vice president for my county. And I do all of that because number one, I did not like being a realtor in the beginning. I needed to make friends before I started to enjoy real estate. But number two, because like I've built relationships and we help each other build each other's businesses, whether they're with EXP or not.
Yeah.
And this is one of the ways that like people have paid me back in bounds by sharing my stuff, and it gets me more and more leads. So build relationships too, so that way people want to share your stuff.
Exactly. Oh, that's good.
I talk a lot. I do apologize.
No. We love it. We're listening. Like you said, like you had a lot of success and everything, and you know all those tips. We're writing it down.
Okay.
So,
So the Great Dane is back.
I love the great thing.
See her, but the background messes with it. You can barely see her. But anyways, the next thing that I want to show you guys is how to change and customize a couple things on your website. So I will tell you, I've had a problem with my cookies on my this website for a couple of days. So let me see if I can get to the right website settings. There we go. Okay. The other day I was clicking that and that's not where it was taking me. But you can go into your Web and IDX, go to Website Manager, Website Settings, and there are a lot of things that you can change to customize your website. There are training videos that go over each and every one of the things that are on here. If you want to watch those, I encourage you. KVCore's training videos are pretty good. But to kind of explain the basic ones, right here is asking you the template. So it's asking you, how do you want the front end of your site to look? So this is the template that I've chosen where it has either an image or a video in the background. I'm going to show you how to add a video to it, but an image in the background, and then it's laid out in this fashion. You can choose a different template. The other one is called Foundation. And if you watch the videos, they do show you pictures of how Foundation looks. I'm not going to change mine to Foundation because I like mine the way that it is, but it's just a different layout. So you can change it to Foundation, hit save, look at it, see if you like it, change it back if you don't. So two different templates as far as what the layout is on your website. Underneath that, there's different like widget bundles that you can add. That's not something that I necessarily have a lot done with. So you can definitely add more to it if you want to, but it's not something that I've found necessary. Underneath that, it's asking you what color theme do you want? That's referring to like, see this color here, how it's here. These are all turquoise. This is turquoise. So you can change out that color. I like this color, so that's the color that I chose. But you can also click here and choose many other options. There's a million different colors on here for you. So you can change that out as often as you want. Background images. So I do have a video that's playing, but you can choose different images that it will cycle through. They call that like a carousel of images. So I do encourage you to have some of these selected in case your YouTube video that I'm going to show you how to add in a second is not working. So still choose these even if you do put a video on your website. But go through here and choose the ones that look like where you live. So I live in Florida. So I went through and I chose all of the homes that could look like Florida homes. This does not look like where I live. So I did not choose that one. That doesn't look like where I live. Did not choose that one. So kind of go through and choose. You guys being in Canada, I'm sure you can choose some nice mountain photos depending on where you are, some pictures with snow, but there's a lot of different options as far as what you can choose for your website images. I grew up in Arizona, so I would choose this and this if I was a realtor in Arizona. You get the idea. So choose as many images as you want and hit save. You do have to hit the blue save button at the end of each one of these. So just like before, I was editing the color, I would have to hit save there. It's not like, hey, change everything and then hit save. Save each change just to save yourself a little bit of heartache. Now, if you have listings and some beautiful photos, you can actually upload those to be the background of your website as well. So you can always drag an image into this box. It can't be too many pixels. It needs to be exactly 1600 by 650. So if you have images that are formatted right, you can easily do it. Otherwise, you will have to reformat them. Underneath that, there's a secondary logo option. So on your website, you have the EXP logo on the top left-hand side. Next to that, you can actually put your own logo. So if I had like a Leslie Suarez brand logo, I could put it here and it would pop up next to it. The other things that I've seen team members do is that instead of a photo of themselves here, they'll put a photo of their logo here. So you have different options. This one you change in your profile. This one you change in the website settings. So this could be your headshot, your logo, an image of you. Like this was me the first time that I ever went to like the major Florida realtors directors meetings. So I like that one for now, but I probably should change it back to a headshot. But again, you have the option to put a team logo or a team name up in the left-hand corner of your website. Then coming down, you can hide different parts of your website, like hide where we're getting our information, like what MLS. You can hide the millions mapped information. You can hide a lot of different information. I leave it all visible because that keeps me the most compliant. The only thing that I do hide is our office information, and that's because, to use Florida as an example, our broker in Florida is 5 hours away from where I am. Because EXP has like one broker per state and then like the broker team that all works together to make the magic happen. But if I were to put like the office information, it would actually show that Jacksonville address, and I don't live anywhere near there. And it's actually confused people in the past. So I do hide that, but everything else is still on. I'm not hiding it. You can make a lot of different changes. So I can go over these one by one, or if you have a specific question on some of them, but I feel like we'll run out of time if I go too in depth. This I did talk about earlier when I was showing you the squeeze pages, is the force lead registration, where it says, how many times do you want people to look at something before they're asked to register? So again, you would choose like the number. I wouldn't recommend 2 or 1. I use 3, and I wouldn't recommend never or 10 because that's just too many and they might exit your website, but you can change that. You can also make it so it never asks people to register. That won't help you build your CRM. So I require people to register after a specific number of views, and I chose 3. So you would hit save there. You can change the name of your website. It shows up in people's browsers sometimes. You can change the meta description of your website. This is what appears on Facebook and Google. So putting in really good keywords here is important. And then if I continue to scroll, you can change and customize things on your website. You can put in footers, you can change the conversation code, you can change the chat widget. Like there's so much that you can do. Sorry, my client has called me twice or yeah. Teaching. Just had to text somebody real quick. You could put in an additional address. So if you have a local bricks and mortar office that you want to use, you can put that there. There's different phone numbers. I do leave the Florida broker's email address on my website because people do need to be able to contact my broker. You can hide your Zillow testimonials if you don't like those, or you can connect them from here as well as on the testimonials page. Now this is where you would upload a background video. So if you want to upload a YouTube video, you do need to have the rights to the video. So get permission from whoever's video it is, or post your own video to YouTube and then add it to KVCore. But you can actually put a background YouTube video in by getting the YouTube ID. You would get that by going to YouTube and actually clicking on this specific video. And then normally in the settings or the more button, you're able to get the YouTube ID. And really then just some extra things. I'm trying to think if there's anything major that I'd recommend to change. Oh, I do think this one's a good one where you can kind of change the custom navigation. So on my website, it used to say search and then sell. I changed it to search for homes and free home valuation because I think that it just describes the buttons a little bit better. So I added search for homes, just as a little bit more obvious. And then instead of sell, I put free home valuation. So when people click on these buttons, they can go be directed to your search page, which they'll also be directed to the same page if they do this stuff here, or free home valuation brings you to that. Sorry, I'd already typed in an address under this login, but you can click sell your home and it'll ask you to do your home valuation like I showed you on that squeeze page. So you do have those buttons on your page at all times, but you can also change other things. You can add custom labels, custom pages. There's a lot that you can do depending on what your background is. People that are into websites and have built WordPress sites have a blast in here and they're able to do a lot of stuff. But I will tell you that your website is 100% functionable, yeah, when you get it from EXP. So there's nothing that you absolutely have to do. Everything that I'm telling you here are just extra little tips and tricks, but don't feel like if this is too confusing that it's not going to work and it's not going to be what you need it to be. It will be, but you can just do as much or as little as you want. Now this one where it shows you the listing carousels, that's referring to, let me go home. So that's referring to when you scroll down on the main part of your website is these carousels. So you can change what they actually provide in them. So this one I have listings, then the open house is coming up. I really love this one because I have some clients that really don't want to buy, but they love to go to open houses. And so they actually use my website to find out what's coming up for the weekend that they can go do. So that one's a great tab. And then I also have it just listed anywhere in my MLS tab. So the way that you would change those is that you can change them out. So number one is I chose the city of Boca Raton to have. Number two, I have the open houses, like I just said. And number three, I've just listed anywhere in my MLS. It's not specific to Boca. It's anywhere that my MLS services. You do have a Google Analytics ID, so you can obviously check that and see how busy you are. If you are a Google advertiser. Underneath here, you can change the type of listings that your clients can search for on your website. So if I go back up to the search tab, or even here, you'll see I have that people can search for everything except for commercial, because I do not do commercial. So that could be here, or I could add commercial and then refer out those properties as well. But I actually don't stick my hand at commercial. But over here, it shows you like what people can search for. And so that the setting that you can change that in is in the back end of KVCore on your website settings. So I have everything selected that I service. If I don't service it, you can definitely still select it and use it as a referral opportunity as well. So whichever you prefer. Only show your counties. I have that selected for myself. But again, you can kind of come through here and change things as it goes. The default sort, I have mine where it's priced high to low as people look through my website, but it's because I live in a really luxurious area. So that's makes more sense. But if you're somebody that works with investors a lot, or a lower price market, you might want to do it from low to high, because that might get you more attention. Also, you can change the way that things are displayed. You can change out what your search options are. So a great explanation of this one is here in Boca Raton, we have membership communities, and people from other areas a lot of the time don't know what that means, but you can buy a home here for a very reasonable price, but then you have to pay $100,000 to be a part of the golf membership or whatever other membership that community has. And you can't close on your house unless you've paid that $100,000, and it's cash. It's not something that can be mortgaged. So I have a lot of people that will search for homes and find a home at a really great price and be like, Leslie, I want to go see this house. And I'm like, I know that you like the price point, but you have to remember there's $100,000 membership fee on top of that. So in my area, it's really important that people can take out the homes that have membership fees when they're searching on my website. So I added that as an extra thing. But think about where you live and what some of the important things that you change are when you do searches on the MLS, and add those into the popular search options so that people have these as changes that they can make in their home searches. I hope that makes sense, because I feel like I just talked in a circle. You guys still awake?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So do you guys have any questions on like this back end stuff of?
No, I think well, like I said, we'll go in and try it, and yeah, if there's anything, we'll just reach out to you. Probably schedule a one-on-one or something.
Perfect. But I feel like between the beginners class and now this advanced class, you guys know a lot about KVCore, and you can do pretty much anything you need to by just knowing these basics. So hopefully you have a lot of luck.
Yeah, it's an amazing tool. I love it. I love it even more now.
I have people that have been with EXP for a really long time and have never used KVCore, and then they start using it and they're like, man, did I waste time? So I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope that you utilize it. I hope you post squeeze pages and that you pick up the phone and you get people to share it to really maximize like how much success you can have. So
for sure. Yeah. And if we go in your area in Palm Beach, we'll reach out to you. Maybe we can spend a day or two with you.
Absolutely. I'll show you all of the cool listings in the area.
Perfect. That sounds good.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you have an awesome day, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care, Leslie.
Bye.
Bye.
I just made the most amazing Zoom mistake of speaking when I was not on mute, but I am now unmuted. But either way, guys, I'm Leslie Suarez, realtor with eXp Realty. Happy to be here to show you some tips and tricks for KVCore. I've been talking all day long between clients, my real estate board, and these KVCore classes. So I apologize, but hope you guys had a great time, learned lots, and subscribed to my channel. Thanks for watching.